Well, hey guys, welcome back to part 6 of the turbo install. Yes, it's part bloody 6. Now, before I get into what I sort of did off camera, somebody asked the other day, and I completely forgot to do it in yesterday's video, they wanted to see inside the exhaust manifolds, or the turbo manifolds. Now, these manifolds, they appear to suck up and then go down into the turbine, where the standard ones go straight down. Poking around inside, that difference doesn't actually feel like there's a lot more room inside these manifolds. Now, I know the finger flow test is far from scientific, but to be brutally honest, looking at them in person, the actual way they flow doesn't really feel much different. The only sort of big benefit I can see is because these go up and then down, maybe that airflow, as it gets round to this section, because it's coming from a higher distance, might have a bit more effect to it. So the top of that curve there to the turbine is a little bit further than it is on this one. Now, on to going on from yesterday. You guys, hopefully you'll be as happy as I was to know that the stud I snapped the end off, I did manage to get out. However, it wasn't straightforward. I got the 2 nuts on it, and I'll put a clip in now because I was quite frustrated. Hopefully you guys can see this, but we have a bit of an issue. The nut is threaded. So the double nut trick has just threaded something. Oh man. So we've now fucked the stud, and vice grips is going to be the last go, and she is heated up as well. But yeah, basically the nut was just spinning, the bottom one. It threaded the nut, so I ended up using another 2 nuts, wound them right down close, and a set of vice grips on there. So we have one nut locking onto the other nut and a set of vice grips with heat, and it cracked. But man, it did make me work for it, but I'm glad it's gone. And we now have 16 brand new studs all in place. Yeah, I've given this a bit of a smooth off. I know it looks manky, but that is really super smooth to the touch, so hopefully that will all seal properly. We have the hose clamp on the rear inlet. You may have spotted I haven't put the front inlet on yet, but I'm going to do that after the turbos are on because it should be fine. I should have heaps of room from the front with everything out that I've got out at the moment. On my table of mess, which is sort of organised, I've gone through and put each of the bolts, or Torx bolts, whatever you want to call them, next to where they need to go in their specific hose. Now, if I'd actually paid more attention when I took it apart, I wouldn't have had to do that. It took about an hour today to work out where everything goes. But yeah, even though it looks like mess, I actually know what's going on. These are the coolant return lines that I was waiting on from BMW. So I'm glad they came last night. And I also got my coolant hoses delivery as well. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but this elbow on the main coolant pipe, it's just a manky piece. It's not the right one. Someone's made it up out of something. You can see it's the wrong hose. It's also gone soft, and I just don't like the feel of it. You can see where it's been just squeezing on the water pump. Not ideal. So I did buy one of these rain kits. Now these are actually pretty good because I don't think you can buy that genuine. You can't buy just that rubber piece genuine, which is why someone's made this bit up. But this is a kit from that company with hose clamps and actually replaces the rubber. So I'll get that done as well today, as well as fit the new O-ring in there. That is the thermostat to head hose, which I can't remember if I mentioned it on camera, but the one that's on the car at the moment is just super, super soft. So I thought while I'm down here doing the thermostat and whatnot, I may as well get that changed. So all of my parts have arrived, apart from the engine mount. But hopefully that'll be here tomorrow. Again, I paid for express overnight delivery last Wednesday. It's been 6 days, it still hasn't turned up. Thank you, COVID. Delivery is just crap. But fingers crossed it'll be here tomorrow. It did actually get shipped yesterday. It's just a terrible system. Anyway, I'm gonna get which way am I gonna do it? I'm gonna get the oil feed lines bolted onto the turbos. I'll get the coolant return lines bolted onto the block. Get that fixed, get the O-ring replaced. I'm going to time lapse that because you guys don't need to listen to me or watch me do that, but I'll give you an update once we're there. Oh, and I nearly forgot. I also removed the original downpipe bracket that used to sit just there. I never actually removed it when I did the downpipes last year. So we've got a bit more room. I don't know if we need room, but anyway, that's gone as well. I took that off last night. All right, let's get on with fitting this stuff.
I said it in the intro, but I'm only going to fit the oil feed to the turbo, not the oil drain, and then put them on, and I'll explain why once we get over there. I'm just trying to do things a bit differently. But I thought while I'm at this point, which is just putting the turbo gaskets on, now I was really concerned about using the aftermarket gaskets to seal against the head, mainly because I just do not want them to leak. So I actually bought genuine gaskets, but the Chinese or the eBay turbos, they do give you 6 in the kit. Not that they have much of a kit. But I just thought I'd show you the difference. Now, you can clearly see that the Chinese gasket is thinner than the OE genuine gasket there. So I'm sure, look, I can't tell you whether these would or wouldn't work. It certainly looks like the same type of material, but the genuine one is definitely thicker. So just something to keep in mind. These weren't very expensive. I think they were a few bucks each from FCP Euro, but I'm going to get them mounted on to the turbos now as well. Well guys, we've got the 2 coolant outlet lines, well I believe they're outlets, in, so it's the moment of truth. Can we, or can I, get this turbo up into place? And it's instantly caught on the steering rack, steering column I should say. And then that oil line's caught. Please don't damage anything. Oh god, the oil line got caught again. It's rubbing on the out inlet, I should say. That's pretty close. I'm going to just pop a copper nut on for now and just make sure we're all good. Actually, I'll unclip you guys. Oh god, don't fall off. I'll get another nut. I only got one. What I'm going to do is make sure it's all centered before I force the gaskets into the head. Okay, that's got 2 of the nuts on. I just want to make sure all the lines are in the right spot, but I'll take you guys off so you can see how it's sitting. So yeah, magically, the inlet has slid straight on the turbo. However, my hose clamp placement is no good, so I might have to take it off again. Bugger. Now that's because I'd looked up tutorials with left-hand drives and they put the screw head there, but I'm going to need to take that off. Bollocks. All right, I'll see if I can work that out. That coolant line is going to go pretty much straight where it needs to go. I hope you guys can see this. Oil line's done on the top, my oil drain can go on, and that's gone about where it needs to go as well. The other thing I'm going to do before I clamp it down on the final clamp is get the heat shields back up in there, but I'll leave it loose before, so I can put the heat shields back in, but I think we're pretty safe. Everything's gone well, apart from that hose clamp needs to be spun around. Okay, I ended up having to take the turbo off just a little bit just to get that hose clamp off, but I got it the other way around now. You can see on this side, the inlet's still got to come on another 3 or 4 mil. But I will force it on once I've got the turbo fully clamped down. Heat shield's sitting in place and I've got access to all the screws, that's all good. I'm not going to bolt it on yet until I've got the other lines on. But the reason I didn't put the oil drain on is purely to make doing up that bolt there a bit easier. I think I could probably do the 3, in fact I might put the 3 Torx bits back in the heat shield now. I'll do that because the top one over here will be a bit easier to access while the front turbo's off. All right, I'll get that bolted back on and the next thing you'll see will be me bringing the other turbo in. Okay, so the heat shield is on with only 3 of the 4 bolts in it on the back one. Now I'm going to try and get the front turbo up in place. Again, I'm just going to put it on loose and just have a couple of nuts holding it on, hopefully. I have also lubed up the O-rings again. Oh, come on, come on. Who left that torch there? Okay. Relatively painless again, apart from that oil line, which needs to come around heaps. All right, we'll get one nut on so she's not going to fall off. Actually, we might get two on. So she is on. Now this is making me a bit nervous. This oil feed, you gotta be super careful. There is so much oil on that fitting, and she's just pushed in. Sweet. When I say oil on the fitting, I mean oil on the O-ring. I've been very concerned about those knots wanting to reseal. Fingers crossed. All the surfaces were good. Oops, might be blocking the camera. But that one's on as well. All right, I'm gonna get the heat shield on this side so I don't forget that. And then the coolant lines fitted in. And I don't know if you could see it, but I was trying to fit said heat shield in, and this is for the back turbo, so I put the wrong heat shield on. A quick intermission and I'll get them round the right way. Well, I did actually have the heat shields round the right way. I was just forgetting about this bracket. So get that in mind, you've got to put that back on. So from what you've last seen, I've torqued down the oil feed to the turbos. The turbos are still loose, so I just torqued it down because I want to get this bracket on, make sure I had the heat shields on the right way. Because there's not many right-hand drive DIYs, I really don't want to torque the turbos down until I know they're not coming off again. And I'm pretty confident at this stage, I'm good. I've had this coolant line in. I haven't actually locked it in. I have re-oiled all of the O-rings. I'm really concerned about the O-rings grabbing and not sealing. The only thing I haven't sort of fitment checked is my outlet pipe. But at this point, I think I'm going to torque the manifolds down so the turbos are actually sitting exactly where they should be sitting. Then I'll get the coolant lines in and I'll give you an update once that's done. Well, that was a much bigger job than anyone else made out, or I just suck at it. That took about 50 minutes to torque those 16 bolts up. Nuts. Now, I didn't do like one at a time. I went round in 3 passes, trying to squeeze basically the gaskets into place evenly. And maybe that's what took a long time, but Jesus Christ, that was a bit of a mission. But that now means turbos are in place, nice and solid. And even just putting it up in place, the silicon inlet's now even closer to being in the right spot. It's just going to need a little bit of a wiggle. But the next thing I'm going to do is get the rest of the coolant feed lines, and then I can clamp in the coolant return line as well. And then I'll get the oil lines on, which should be all pretty straightforward. Bolting the turbos on was straightforward. It just took me forever. And I am taking my time, trying to make sure I don't cock anything up because I don't want to do anything twice. Anyway, I'll get the rest of the coolant and oil lines on, I think. Well guys, that is the oil drain, coolant feed, coolant drain, exit, whatever, oil feed, all in place. I still haven't put the silicon inlet in. I should see if I can... Oh gosh, it's pretty much closed up. I'm about knackered though. Yeah, holding your arms up for 2 hours above your head is quite tiring, but yeah, yeah, oil drains are in. It definitely would have been better if I'd put the oil drains on before I put the turbos up. I was trying not to kink that, but I ended up having to kink it anyway. And yeah, coolant pipe is on, nice and solid. Hopefully you guys can see that. And yeah, the only thing, I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but I have been oiling the hell out of any O-ring that's got to be slid into place. I'm trying to be as careful as I can to make sure that they slide in squarely, because I really don't want to nick any O-rings and have any leaks. But turbos are torqued up, it's all looking pretty good. I'm gonna end it there today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you guys. The only thing that caught me out for the right-hand drive was literally having that hose clamp on the wrong way around on the inlet. Everything else was pretty straightforwards. I definitely took my time doing this. Like I said, it was nearly an hour just to torque the turbos onto the head. But again, I did it that way. I was just taking my time. I did not want to forget to do anything. And touch wood, I don't think I have. Tomorrow, first thing off the bat, is going to be fitting the outlets. Make sure that I have got clearance with the steering shaft, steering column, whatever they're called. But I am pooped. Alright, well that's going to end this video off here. And with a bit of luck, actually my engine mount still hasn't turned up, but that should be here tomorrow, I hope to God. But with a bit of luck, I reckon we'll be starting it tomorrow. Anyway guys, like, thank you very much to everyone that's following along. I hope these videos don't get too boring. Yeah, just try and show you guys the fun that I've been through trying to do it, but we're getting there. The new turbos are on. All right guys, we'll catch you on the next one.